Welcome to the NFT Lawyer casting channel on YouTube. Today we're going to go over 8 legal tips for every NFT project. So this is your essential list of legal tips that every NFT project needs to consider, hopefully before launch. All right, let's jump to it and talk a little bit about our legal tips. But I first have to tell you that there's this disclaimer, which I hate to give, because if you're getting your legal advice off the internet, off of a YouTube video, then you should know that's not the way you do it. You have to hire an attorney. Every situation is different. Facts count. This is a general educational and informational video. You need to talk to your NFT lawyer in order to get your specific situation dealt with from a legal point of view. So this is not legal advice. Enough said. So this is hopefully going to be your money list of NFT legal tips that you've been waiting for. If you are considering launching an NFT project or selling NFTs, look, your attorney needs to consider and advise you on these legal issues before your NFT launch. And the earlier you understand the importance of these critical legal issues, which we're going to talk about today, the less legal risk your project will have. The return on investment on good legal advice for NFT projects is just through the roof. You're going to become faster, more efficient, more focused. That good NFT lawyer is going to help you develop your business model. You're going to be able to shorten your timeline, reduce your risk, and increase your opportunity. All right, let's get started. So, NFT legal tips, that's what we're doing today. Before you launch your NFT project, you want to be considering these legal tips, and return on investment is going to be there if you get a good legal advice from a good NFT and IP attorney to help you along the way. So at the end of these videos, at the end of this video, you're going to have questions. There's only so much we can accomplish today. So we're going to hit each issue. We're going to talk about each issue. But there's some good news here. We're going to dig into each tip over the next 2 weeks. Each one of the tips we're going to go through today, we're going to dig into as a separate YouTube video so that you can fully understand the nuance of those issues and become better informed. So if you're considering an NFT project, you're a brand, you're a marketing company, you've got a great NFT project idea, you're an attorney who's interested in NFTs, you're going to want to make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, because we've got lots of great content coming up over the next couple of weeks. All right, so are you guys ready? Let's get started. Let's do tip number 1. And let me get my handy dandy highlighter here. So tip number 1. Let's talk about your project name. And I've hit this issue in prior videos, but we're going to talk about it again today. Your project name is your trademark. It is the name of your store, of your NFT listing. It is trademark worthy. It is your brand. It's how consumers know who you are and who they're dealing with. So you want to make sure that you protect your project name as a trademark. We're going to talk about that in a second, but let's just take a look at what I'm talking about here. So here is a listing off of OpenSea for Vayner Sports Pass VSP, and I believe this is Vayner Media, and this particular project has identified the project under this name. This name, Vayner Sports Pass VSP, is a potential trademark. It's how people are going to know who the NFT project owner is. This logo here, VSP, is potentially a trademark, and we can see it up again here. So you might have a registration for Vayner Sports Pass VSP and for the logo VSP as well. And this is going to be critical. It's intellectual property, people. NFT plays are intellectual property plays. You need to protect and build value in your intellectual property. All right, let's talk about the next one. So here's another one called the Sunny's Collection. The Sunny's Collection words are potentially a word mark, a standard character mark that you can protect. This image here may or may not be a logo that gets used as an identifier for the company. If it's just a picture of one of the digital art pieces, then potentially not. This up here, this design element, perhaps in combination with this, is potentially a logo mark. Think about the Nike swoosh, some of the other great logos out there for Apple. You can not only protect the words, standard character mark, but any design elements as well as a trademark. Anything that identifies the source and origin of goods and services. Anything that tells a consumer who you are so that they know they're buying legitimate goods and services. Oh, yeah, that's going to be important in the NFT game because copycats, fraudsters are everywhere. So let's go ahead and erase that. Let's talk a little bit now about this one. This is Crypto Mores. Again, Crypto Mores is a standard character mark. I want to talk a little bit about this one because I want to tell you that the word crypto is probably not going to get any protection, or the word NFT or the word blockchain. A descriptive word, a dictionary word that describes what the product is not subject to protection. So that's why you have Nike or Zappos or Amazon, which are completely unique words which can only mean those companies. But if your name of your NFT project is NFT monkeys, and that's what they are, you're going to have very little, if any, trademark protection. But the word mores is definitely trademark worthy. So this is something that they're going to want to protect. Tip number 2, legal tip number 2, is to have your trademark attorney do a trademark availability search for your project name. So we talked about how your project name is a potential trademark, but before you pick that name, you should have your trademark attorney do a trademark availability search. If there is something similar that already exists out there, the person who was first wins. And it doesn't have to be identical to what you're doing. If a similar project name or something in the tech market or the blockchain market or a different type of token or something that is just in a different market that is significantly similar to your project name, such that it's likely to cause consumer confusion as to source and origin, then whoever uses it first wins, which means a pre-existing mark owner can shut you down. It can take your domain name if your domain name matches your project name, and you could become legally liable to all your NFT buyers because you are unable to pass the rights on to them that they were expecting, because potentially your store gets shut down on OpenSea and potentially you have to literally go out of business. So you're taking on liability if you pick a trademark, a store name that's going to be confusing similar to someone else's store name. You want to make sure that you do the availability search. It's a very sophisticated phonetic search with word swaps and letter swaps. A trademark attorney is going to get that search report back and is going to analyze it and is going to tell you which pre-existing marks may be problematic for your company. So the goal here is you don't want to infringe someone else's pre-existing rights and get a threat letter, trademark infringement threat letter that says you must cease and desist, right? But also you want to build brand value, and you can only build brand value by creating a unique brand name that can only be you. So pick something unique, and then of course if you do pick something unique, you're going to be able to protect your mark against imitators, fraudsters, and copycats. Ready for tip number 3? Tip number 3 is following right in line. Make sure you register your trademark with the USPTO. You don't have to register your trademark in order to have trademark rights, but if you do, special things are going to happen. All right? So you want to, if you do your trademark availability search and it comes back clean, that trademark attorney is going to tell you that you have a high likelihood of getting it registered with the USPTO. So you want to go through that process. And one of the reasons is you can file an intent to use registration before you even use the name. So remember I told you a minute ago that whoever was the first to use it in commerce wins. They have priority. There's one exception to that, and that's if you file with the USPTO an intent to use registration where you're putting your marker down saying, even though I'm not in commerce yet, even though I haven't launched yet, I'm claiming this project name, this brand as mine. And so you can jumpstart that priority date by filing an intent to use registration, which is really important because if you know your name and it's clear, it may take you months to launch. You want to get an intent to use registration in place so that you don't lose your priority rights. If you achieve registration, you also get certain presumptions of validity and boom, up to $100,000 in statutory damages and attorney's fees that you can threaten against any infringers. So if I send a threat letter out for trademark infringement on a common law mark where I don't get the presumptions and I don't get the statutory damage benefits, right? The other attorney knows I have to prove my damages. And that can be really hard in a trademark context. That's why the Congress passed a law which gives you penalty statutory damages even if you can't prove any damages. This is a big stick against infringers. So this is going to make for a really powerful threat letter if you have a registered trademark. All right. So why do you get trademark registration? Because you get super rights and super presumptions and statutory damages. That, my friends, is tip number 3. Here is an example which we'll be doing a deep dive into in one of the next videos on tip number 3, where the Bored Ape Yacht Club, very famous NFT drop, they dropped in May of last year, unexpectedly went through the roof, now worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, who knows, right? But they did not register their trademarks prior to launch. In fact, these are just serial numbers here. This is registration numbers here. They haven't made it through the registration process on their marks. They're just filed. They're trying to get through the process. Why? Because all these other NFT projects copied Bored Ape Yacht Club, something else Yacht Club, something else Ape, and arguably infringed the Bored Ape Yacht Club's various trademarks, causing consumer confusion. Of course they were. That was what their goal was, to draft off all the goodwill of Bored Ape Yacht Club for their copycat project. So Bored Ape eventually got a lawyer, and they are going through the registration process, trying to get some of their marks. These are all variations of trademarks that they use for their NFT drop, trying to get those registered so they can get some real leverage on their threat letters. And you can see, here's an example of one of their filed marks for just the words Bored Ape. And you can see downloadable game software. There's lots of different things that you can register for. Non-fungible tokens used with blockchain technology. They're trying to get the verbiage down with the USPTO on this. And the USPTO is trying to figure out what a non-fungible token is. So you need a good lawyer to help you get through the registration process. Virtual goods. These are the categories of goods and services that they're going to be protected in. All right, so enough about tip number 3 in trademark registration. We're going to revisit that another time. Whew. Tip number 4, we're halfway home. Okay, tip number 4. Most NFT projects use contractors, independent contractors, artists, graphic designers, to help them with their digital image or video, and sometimes they'll use musicians for any sort of music that goes along with an NFT drop. If you're using a contractor, you have to have your lawyer draft and obtain a work-for-hire agreement with all artists, authors, musicians involved in creating the digital image, the digital video, the digital audio for your NFT project. Make sure your company actually owns the copyright to the images associated with your NFT. If you don't get a work-for-hire agreement from an independent contractor, the contractor retains the copyright. You're just a licensee, and they, absent agreement, could potentially revoke their license at any time. So you need to make sure that your digital asset, that is the Bored Ape, your digital asset that's copyrightable, that your digital asset is copyright protected. And copyright protected, step 1, means you actually have rights that you need in order to do your NFT launch. All right, your artist owns the copyright unless you get a work for hire agreement, a copyright assignment from that artist. Work for hire agreements transfer ownership from the copyright author, right, from the artist to the NFT project. You need that. And your linked digital assets, the Bored Ape, are all about copyrights. Your digital asset is copyright protected and must be treated as such by an experienced copyright attorney who knows how to transfer ownership, license, do license limitations, do all the things necessary to deal with the bundle of rights that come with every copyright. All right, so tip number 4, you're dealing with intellectual property again. Trademarks, ideas, copyrights, images, your token is potentially protectable. All of this is intellectual property. NFTs and NFT projects are intellectual property projects, and you need to get a good intellectual property attorney involved at the beginning. Yeah, you're not going to like tip number 5. I'm going to tell you that right now. None of my clients ever do, but guess what? Owners, partners, investors, employees, they're your biggest risk. I'll say it again. Your friends, the people you're starting this with, the people who you trust, are your biggest risk. You need to have everyone involved, including yourself, owners, partners, employees, sign an IP ownership, IP assignment contract saying that anything that they brought with them to the company, any ideas they brought with them, any documents they brought with them, anything they develop while they're with you, all of that is owned by the company that is going to control the project, that's going to own the project, so the project can then pass on certain rights to NFT buyers. This is always important, but it's never been as important as it is in the blockchain space. You need to make sure you as the project owner have already bundled up all the rights that you need so that you could pass on some or all of those rights to the NFT buyers. Because if it turns out you don't have the rights that you're selling, those NFT buyers are going to become liabilities. They're going to come after you. They're going to sue you. And all of those incredible profits that are in a wallet somewhere are going to be subject to collection. And yes, it's going to require a court order, but yes, they can be collected if you get a good NFT attorney involved who understands how to do collection on token assets. All right, obtain IP rights by contract. Oh boy, IP, contract, you're going to be hearing that a lot. Owners, partners, employees, friends now, potentially foes later. I hate to say it, but that's just the number one issue we deal with as lawyers is there's a falling out and all of a sudden someone's holding digital assets hostage. They control the wallet, public key, private key combination, and they're extorting you because they want something that you did not give them. So protect your IP with contracts. That is going to be a theme of these tips. Good contracts can't protect you against bad people, but they can give you leverage. All right, tip number 6. Wow, okay, 6 is very similar to 5, and you're still not going to like it. Yes, really, owners and employees must sign contracts. Not only do you need to get these IP assignment agreements in place, and you can do it in a single agreement, but you can do an IP assignment, but you also need non-disclosure and non-compete agreements from all contractors, employees, partners, and investors before sharing confidential information, or if you don't get it then, get it later. And these are critical because if there's a disgruntled investor, owner, employee, in all likelihood, they're going to take all your best ideas. They're going to take all that investment you have in getting to this point, and they're going to streamline it. They're going to start from where you are, and they're going to compete against you in the future. So you need to protect yourself against that. Again, hope for the best, but plan for the worst. You can still love these people. They're still your friends. You're all going to sign contracts. You're all going to do it together. You need to hope that everything works out, but together you need to talk about what happens if it doesn't. All right, friends now, foes later. Hopefully not, but maybe so. Make sure you follow tip number 6 and you protect yourself. Whew, tip number 7. We're coming to the end here. Boy, I can hardly wait till the deep dive when we get into the nuance of all of these tips because I'm just barely hitting the surface of these things. All right, tip number 7 here is one that you've heard me talk about before. It is the licensing model for your NFT drop. This is copyright. This is licensing. You could assign all your copyright to the NFT buyers like Bored Ape Yacht Club says it's trying to do. That's rare. Creates a lot of asset value for the NFT buyer, right? But typically what you're doing is you're granting some rights to the NFT buyer, but you're also reserving some rights and you're providing some limitations. So your linked digital asset contract, you've heard me, I've coined this term. It's something no one ever talks about. It's not the token contract. It's the contract that's on your website or wherever, which is going to be all of the guts of your agreement with your NFT buyer. That's going to be your license agreement for the linked digital asset from your token. So this linked digital asset contract is critical. You have to have your legal team draft a copyright licensing agreement, incorporate that into your linked digital asset contract for your NFT project. And look, this should be done early because your linked digital asset contract is going to then guide you as to what your roadmap is going to be, right? And vice versa. Whatever your roadmap is, you need to make sure that's the entire roadmap is accounted for in your initial linked digital asset contract that is posted prior to minting. So you need to understand your licensing model before you launch, and typically as part of your initial business plan. Once you understand your licensing model, you're going to have a much easier time rolling out your project. All right. Linked Digital Asset Agreement, LDAA or LDAC, Linked Digital Asset Contract. Very important agreement, one that's often overlooked and is probably the one that's going to be able to reduce your risk the most of any other agreement that you have out there. So don't forget to have that drafted, reviewed, and matched to your business plan. Remember, the linked digital asset contract is different than the token contract. Non-fungible token, NFT, non-fungible token, it's a token. That token is a token contract that gets placed onto the blockchain. That is going to control who owns the token, how it's transferred, whether or not there's residual royalties. The very most basic terms of your agreement with your NFT buyer and subsequent buyers. Your linked digital asset agreement is going to be the guts of your business plan. It's going to be where the real rubber hits the road for your project. Tip number 8. Finally we made it to number 8. Investment opportunity. You've heard that the SEC is enforcing against cryptocurrency, but what you may not know is they're also enforcing against non-fungible token projects. And this is a very complicated area. There are no definitive answers. There's always going to be some securities risk for you in your NFT play, but there's a lot of things you can do to reduce that risk, really get it under control. The thing that you have to ask yourself is, are you pitching this? Are you marketing this? Are you offering this NFT as an investment opportunity? If you are, it's a security and you have to go through the securities registration process with the SEC. So you typically don't want to do that, right? So you want to make sure your project offering won't be considered a security by the SEC. Number of factors that will impact the issue of whether your NFT is considered a security. A good blockchain securities lawyer can help you review your roadmap, marketing language, and reduce your overall SEC risk. Think about it this way. You want to create utility in your NFT, and you want to build community with your NFT. And if you do those two things, it's going to really help you reduce your risk. Just really quickly, let me show you something that is probably not going to make you real excited here, but if we just take a look at the SEC's enforcement website and do a search for the word token, you're going to see 34 instances on cyber enforcement actions, and you're going to see them listed out here. I'll put this link in the description below. You could take a look at some of these, but these are token actions where the SEC is saying that these are unregistered securities and therefore illegal, and a lot of them are instances where the NFT project or the token project was really engaging in outright fraud. The SEC is certainly going to focus on the ones that are clearly just fraudulent or insider trading. But look, you want to reduce the risk of your token drop. You want to make sure you don't end up getting a notice letter from the SEC or a subpoena that is going to really make you lose sleep. So create utility and community. Don't pitch your token or your NFT as an investment. Don't include that in your marketing language. And if you are going to market your NFT as an investment, go ahead and get it registered as a security token. We have attorneys who can help with that. Wow, that was a lot. And keep in mind, each one of these things is going to become a separate YouTube video. So if you have any further questions, you're going to be able to go ahead and learn more later. You can ask questions in the comments below. And so, oh, wait, tip number 8. We had 2 tip number. This is tip number 9. Bonus tip. Bonus tip. Token contracts and linked digital asset agreements are forever. That's the question mark. Are they forever? Because if they are forever, you got to get it right on the front end. So can you modify a token contract or linked digital asset contract? This is an issue near and dear to my heart, which is probably why I kept it as number 8. Secret. This is a secret issue. This is something I'm working on personally, which doesn't really exist in the market right now. You're going to have to evolve it as an NFT project. We've seen it all the time. Bored Ape became something different again, became the Bored Ape Yacht Club. All kinds of things are happening in that project. Well, how could the initial linked digital asset contract have contemplated all those things? So how can it have all of the terms necessary for just membership in the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? And since you need offer and acceptance, you can't just force those on a buyer down the line. If you're going to modify your contract, you need to somehow get offer and acceptance, and that's not going to happen by fiat. So NFT minting is not the end of your project, but it's the beginning. You're going to need a stakeholder, a project leader that's going to be there for the long haul. You need to be ready to take advantage of all the incredible opportunities that are going to come if your project's successful. And you can't even anticipate what is coming your way if this is a successful project. I'm going to be developing models of modifiable token contracts, modifiable LDACs, so that you can easily evolve with your project. Find that offer acceptance you're going to need for either new contracts or contract modifications down the line. Yes, the token contract is immutable. Yes, you've got offer and acceptance for the LDAC at the first sale after minting. Those are tough issues, but we're going to solve them here. We're going to solve them together. All right, the token contract and the linked digital asset agreements may not be forever if you stick around and go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel, because we're going to solve these problems together. All right, we're going to help you really work on custom token contracts, which we'll be talking about in our deep dive. And again, we talked point person is key. You got to have a point person for your project. All right, my name is Enrico. I am the NFT lawyer on YouTube. I am a founding attorney at Traverse Legal, Traverse Attorneys and Advisors. Go ahead and stay tuned. You want to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell, and you're going to get amazing legal insights for your NFT project, all for free here on YouTube. Again, not legal advice. Go ahead and contact me if you have any specific questions, or just to ask a question in the comments. I'm always happy to help. I am part of the NFT community, and I want to see it grow and evolve.